All right, we're going to get started. So introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, and tell me if you're a newbie. We got lots of newbies here. They're like, I have no idea about real estate investing. I want to say, if you have no idea about real estate investing or how to get started in real estate investing, you are in the right place. You are in the right place. Right? Think of REI USA as a community college for real estate investors, an online community college for real estate investors. All right. There is nothing out there like this. Nothing. We are the only platform that does something like this. Okay. So what we do, and I'm Stacy Rossetti. If you guys don't know, I'm Stacy Rossetti. What we do is we teach people how to invest in real estate, and all the teachers that you're going to meet over the weekend, all the investors, these are all investors that live across the country, and all they want to do is just like share their tips and tricks on how to get started in real estate investing. I see Emmanuel's experience, several wholesale deals, a couple of rehabs, working together, partnering with investors. Awesome. I love it. And then we do have a lot of experienced investors that join REI USA as well too. Why would you join REI USA if you're an experienced investor? Because essentially, number one, times are changing, right? So Emmanuel's been doing wholesaling and rehabbing for a while. Guess what? That's hard right now. It's hard to do wholesaling and rehabbing. It's hard to find really good deals. You could still do it, but it's tougher, right? So a lot of experienced investors, what we do is we're saying, okay, like we know that the market is shifting. What else is out there that we can invest in, right? What types of niches are out there? And that's what REI USA does. It gives you this kind of platform so you can learn how to do multifamily, or you can do notes, or you can do, vacation rentals, pretty much any type of niche out there that is, and has something to do with learning how to invest in real estate. We teach that. Somebody teaches that. And so what REI USA is, it's a platform for you, the investor, to come and learn all the niches, right? And understand all the niches, or say, look, I really want to just learn, short-term rentals. And then you can learn from just regular investors, honestly. Regular investors just like me. We are not gurus, right? So we're not like, we don't have like huge, big coaching programs. We are just investors out there, just want to share what we've learned along the way. And the reason I started this platform, right, was because I've been investing in real estate now for over 10 years. And I was one of those people that, got sucked into these coaching programs that are like, 30, 40, 50, 60, $70,000. Has anybody been sucked into any of those? I just want to know, put yes, or like, thank God, no, right? I don't regret it, right? I don't regret getting into a coaching program like that. I paid $50,000 to learn how to invest in real estate. But the truth is, though, I don't regret it, because I've been very successful, very, very successful. And I'll be teaching tomorrow. So today I'm teaching the beginner investors. I've been teaching people how to invest in real estate for almost as long as I've been investing. So about 8 years. I'm the type of person, like when I figure something out, and it works really well, like I want to share it with the world. And that's what all the teachers are, right? Like we're not like, we don't believe in competition. None of these teachers believe in competition. We believe in abundance, right? So that's the basis of REI USA. Instead of like keeping everything to ourselves, we just want to share it with the world. And so tomorrow in the morning, I'm going to be teaching self-storage. That's what I do. I invest in self-storage. I started out wholesaling and rehabbing. And then, just like Emmanuel, I'm like, okay, like I ain't gonna be doing this for a long time because this is a lot of work, right? What can I do to make more money and have less work? And that's kind of where I'm at. And there's no right or wrong way to do anything. And you'll hear all the stories of all the investors, and every single one of us, we're all completely different, but we all are amazing people that just like kind of figured out our own paths, right? So that's what you have to look forward to. So you have 14 teachers this weekend. We're all going to teach you what we know, what we do best. I'm going to start out with beginning, just to get you all started. And I see a lot of people talking. Good. So Brian's here. Make sure you talk and introduce yourselves in the chat. Utilize the chat too. If you see somebody else that's in your area or whatever, introduce yourself to them, right? Try to get, this is a community. It's not only this is a community college, right? That's why you call it community college. You want to work together. But anyway, so the schedule is at Rei-con, the Rei-con page on REI USA, okay? Now, I want to get started. I want to just get y'all pumped up. And what I want to do is I'm going to teach you guys my 6-step system to getting started in real estate investing. And basically, I am very good at compartmentalizing real estate investing, because what I've learned over the years, and you guys tell me in the chat if you feel this way, but what I've learned over the years from all my students is that, people, they're like, yes, I want to get started in real estate. Yes, I want to do this, but like, now what, right? What are the first things that I should be doing, right? So, and another thing too, is when you go to when you go into the members portal of REI USA, and all the members that are here, you can do this. There is a section in there that says, this is the first 10 steps of what I should be doing right now. Right. And then that way, because like a lot of people, they join and they're just like, now what do I do? What's the next steps or whatever? Right. So the first 10 steps, as soon as you join REI USA, the first 10 things that you should be doing, there's a list in there right on the dashboard. Okay. For you guys. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compartmentalize getting started in real estate investing. I call it Stacy's 6-step system, right? That's what I call it. All right. And what I do is I'm like a visionary person in the chat. Who's a visionary here? Who's kinetic? What's the other one? Visionary, kinetic, auditory, right? I'm a visionary. I'm very visionary. Like I have to see everything in order to figure it out. So I'm going to draw y'all a picture. This is why I don't do like PowerPoint slides and stuff. When you come to my sessions in REI USA, you'll see that I just like get up and I always have a flip chart. All right. Every teacher is completely different, right? But I'm a flip chart person. And so what we're going to do is we're going to draw we're going to draw the chart, your organizational chart for your company. As a real estate investor, I want to visually show you what your company looks like. Okay. And this is what your homework is. And this is exactly what I did when I first got started, is I drew like my organizational chart. And then what I did is I put all the tasks that need to be done underneath them. So I knew what I should be focusing on. Okay. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 steps. And these are also the 6 departments of your business. Right. So when you first get started, right, this is what your company is going to look like. This is straight from my coach. This is what he told me to do, and this is now what I'm telling you to do. Okay. So you have your company, right? And guess what? Every single one of these departments is you. And you can make it, you can draw it better. I went on to like PowerPoint or whatever, and I drew like a really nice chart, but you'll get the gist from this, right? So now, all right, so what are the departments of your business? The very first department of your business is your office admin department. All right, your office admin. So let's put this here. And I just happen to call it office admin is what I call it. You can call it like, well, you can call your department whatever you want, but this is all like the basic foundations of setting it up. This is going to be like business structure. Your phone. How are you going to set your phone up to answer your calls? This is going to be your cloud. If you are not set up to be cloud-based, you have to be set up to be cloud-based, right? This is like, this is the 21st century, right? So especially as an investor, you should be able to manage your company from your phone. All right. We own 1,000 doors in storage, right? And we can manage all that from our phone, right? The same thing for you on the real estate investing side. And you do that by like setting up some sort of cloud-based app on your phone. We use Google Drive is what we use, but you can use whichever one that you want so that you can get a hold of any documents that you need, or manage any documents that you have, or pictures, like when they're going out and looking at properties and taking pictures. Essentially what I see my students do is taking like 1,000 pictures, and then they just have like 1,000 pictures on their phone, right? So we don't want that, right? We want you to be like in the beginning to really just kind of be super organized with your folders, right? So you want to be setting up a folder for every single one of the properties that you look at, and then within those folders, you're going to have like whatever you need in there, right? So we're completely organized on Google Drive. But that's what I'm talking about when I say cloud. Phone is you need to be able to have like a number separate from your don't use your personal number, right? A business phone number separate that you can answer phone calls from, right? And so you can get that from like in the very beginning when you first started, we just had Google Voice is what we did. So you want to just have some sort of phone system, and then business structuring. Deanna is going to be speaking this weekend. You're going to meet Deanna. She's one of our teachers for REI USA. She's also an attorney, and she's going to be she teaches on business structuring. So make sure that you follow Deanna. And that's another thing too, is like you should be following all the teachers. All right. Just follow them, find them on whatever platform that you do, or all the platforms or whatever, and make sure you're following them, because like Deanna Britt, she teaches a lot. She teaches marketing, but she also teaches business structuring. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're following her, so that when she does like webinars or whatever, that you can follow her. Okay. Okay. Another thing is, so this is kind of the first office, getting your office set up, getting the basics of what you need set up. Okay. That's office admin. The second department, and remember that these go step by step. Just make sure my markers are okay. These go step by step. This is even worse. Let's go this one. To each section, okay? So the first step is like getting your office set up, getting all the admin set up, right? A lot of people are always worried about their logo. Do you not notice I don't put logo on here? Nobody cares about your logo. Okay, so just FYI, you need to be able to really, I would be working on like being able to manage your office from your phone. That for me is a priority, because I'm out looking at storage facilities, I'm taking pictures of them, and then immediately I'm uploading them to the folder so that I can always have those. I'm like, oh, what was that? What did that look like? Oh yeah, I'll just go to the folder and see what it looked like or whatever. After a while, properties just kind of start meshing together, Everybody, all this and experienced investors, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, okay, so the next step after you set up your office is your marketing. So now you want to set your marketing department up, all right? And I saw Tamara, she says, do you have two different phones or a phone that identifies personal? No, I just have two different lines. In fact, we have so we have two different lines. And then what happens is when the call comes up, I've labeled it like, whatever it is, like investments, your company name, like mine was Diamond in the Rough. So whenever Diamond in the Rough, somebody called for that phone number, I knew I'd be like, Diamond in the Rough, this is Stacy, can I help you? Oh yeah, you want to sell your house? Okay, yeah. And then now Miss Lillian self-storage, like when Miss Lillian's comes up, we say Miss Lillian self-storage, right? So I just labeled it that way is how we did it in the very beginning. Now we use Grasshopper because we've got I think 15 or 20 lines, I'm not sure. But because we have a lot of facilities and everything, but in the beginning, we just had Google Voice, and when it rang, it would say like my company name, so I knew when to answer it. And then as we started growing and we needed more and more lines, then we moved over to Grasshopper, just so y'all know. And if anybody else has any other suggestions, put them in the chat, please. That would be great, okay, for phones or cloud or any one of these things here, okay? Anything that I put, you can always put it in the chat. Okay, marketing. Okay, so now you got your foundations of your office set up. Now we want to market. Okay, we want to start marketing. You need to have 3 to 5 different types of marketing strategies. Gone are the days where you can just have one marketing strategy and find a property, right? Now it's like there is way too much competition out there, and you have to have a lot of different marketing strategies. So 3 to 5 marketing strategies. What type of marketing strategies is everybody doing? If anybody's doing any type of marketing, right? I'll quickly get into the like some of them I can think of really fast, but this is something like in the beginner group or go into any of the teacher sessions. And I promise all the teachers will tell you what they're doing for marketing. So when you join REI USA, you go to their sessions and ask them, hey, like, what marketing are you doing right now, right? That's the whole purpose of REI USA. So, but marketing, I want you to think of it as 3 different types of marketing strategies, okay? You have free, right? You have free, all right? This is for being like, I got no money. What am I gonna do? I got no money, all right? And then you have the online marketing. This is the one that like hardly anybody does, but it's the best, right? But it's the most expensive. And then you have the direct mail marketing. Okay. So free would be like going on to Craigslist. If you come up with any suggestions for free, let me know. Okay. Craigslist. You could do like, bandit signs. Bandit signs aren't really free, but they're, if you do them yourself, you could buy some bandit signs and then handwrite them. Bandit signs. All right. Free is like, you don't have to you spend very little money versus like more money, like on the direct mail marketing, right? This is where you're going to contact either, especially right now, and you're going to hear over the weekend what a lot of the different teachers do. But like right now, you want to be like focusing on like maybe pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, or what else? Or you want to be doing like maybe tenants, like some sort of like those are absentee owner, right? So we do have a couple of list providers that are partners of REI USA, right? So you want to go into under partners, and all of our partners are there. And as an REI USA member, you'll get a discount, right? But and then you'll see a list of like all different types of partners, but there are a few there that actually provide lists, right? And another thing is a lot of the CRMs provide lists, right? So for instance, like PropStream. So if you go into the partners page, you'll see PropStream, and in PropStream you'll be able to get a list, or like all the other like FreedomSoft or whatever we have there. So CRMs also provide lists, right? All right. So you want to focus right now on certain types of lists. You want to focus on either, because like this is what's happening in the market, right? Absentee owners, which is mostly tenants. I mean, not tenants, landlords, my bad. I say tenants because I'm a storage facility owner. Mostly landlords, all right? So landlords are like frustrated right now, obviously, right? So contacting them to see if they want to sell is something like this. Maybe doing evictions, right? And coming up with like thinking about the market right now, thinking about the real estate market, right? What are some good lists that you could buy that you could market to? Okay. So like pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, obviously there are gonna be a lot of foreclosures coming up here in the next year, right? So contacting them to see if they want to sell is something that would be a good idea, right? Absentee owners is tired landlords, evictions, right? People that are landlords that are going through evictions right now. Anybody else have any suggestions? Y'all can just let us know in the chat, right? So, but this is a good start for direct mail. What you want to do, if you're interested in doing direct mail, go to the partners page, right? And then click on REI Print Mail and talk to Ryan. Ryan is a partner. REI Print Mail is a partner of REI USA, and they will help you to fulfill those lists as well. Okay. So, but anyway, so if you can think of does anybody have any suggestions of other lists right now? Probate is good. Awesome. Yes. Probate. Probate's always good in an up market or a down market, right? Up market or down market. As you go through the market, right? As you go in the up cycle and the down cycle, your lists change, right? Based on the market. But probate is one of those that's like always consistent, always consistent. Like people always dying, right? So like that's always consistent. All right, so probate, right? And then when you join REI USA or all the members of REI USA, what you do is come to like all the different sessions. But if you come to the beginner investor session, which is where I teach, we get like what we'll do is in this, the way that I teach essentially is like we're going through these departments in depth, and I'm telling you exactly what you should be doing in each of those departments. So each session will be like one department. That's kind of how we teach it. This is kind of like the high overview because I only have so much time, right? But so 3 to 5 different marketing strategies online. If you're like an online person like me, like I'm all online, right? So we don't do any direct mail. Mostly we just do online marketing. Then this is like, this is a great way to get started. You can go to a partner. You could do like Carrot is a partner of REI USA, and what they'll do is they'll build you a website, right? Or help you, guide you to build your website. They'll do it for you, or you can do it yourself, the expensive version or the cheap version. And then what they do is they help you to create the SEO and all the stuff on the back office to get lead generation. So this is really like lead generation, trying to figure out lead gen through online marketing, right? And then you could also go, you could learn how to do Facebook ads through online marketing, this kind of thing. Now, Lolita is teaching this weekend. Okay, so make sure if you're like totally interested in the online marketing, Lolita teaches how to do online marketing. That's what she's teaching this weekend, and that's her specialty. She's a teacher for REI USA, and I can't remember when she teaches, but all she does is teaches people how to market online as an investor. She's an investor, and then she helps other investors to market online as well too. Okay, so it's gonna be really good. So make sure you do that. Okay, she's awesome. Okay. All right, good. Okay, all right, so we got some suggestions from that. So 3 to 5 marketing strategies. Okay, now we're getting our marketing going, right? And now we're starting to get some calls. We're getting some leads coming in. We're talking to the sellers, right? So now it's like, oh crap, now sellers are calling me. What do I do, right? So that's where we come into this one. This department right here is acquisitions, the acquisitions department. All right, and acquisitions, I teach acquisitions based off of the ARV formula. So you want to learn the ARV formula. You know, whether or not you use the ARV formula is like your choice, but this is just an easy way to teach what the acquisition process is, right? So ARV formula, okay? The ARV formula, which is, right, the ARV times 70% minus repairs, okay, equals your Mayo. Now this is if you're a rehabber. Now this is just a quick calculation, like should I buy this property? Now this is for a rehabber, okay? And then you have also minus your wholesale fees, right? This is where if you add your fees, and then you could do, this could be your offer as a wholesaler. Right? So this is wholesaler. Okay. So if you're rehabbing or wholesaling, this would be your formula. Okay, this is it. So the ARV stands for, does anybody know what ARV stands for? All right, ARV is just your sell price, right? That's all it is, sell price. Do you spell sell S-A-L-E or S-E-L-L? No, it's going to be S-A-L-E, right? Okay. ARV stands for after repair value. Okay, ARV is sell price, right? So that's the price that you're going to sell the property. So you have to, obviously, how do you figure out what you're going to sell your price at? Does anybody have any ideas? How are you going to sell your property? What's the price that you're going to sell your property at? Any suggestions? While I take a drink. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. Good. Okay, comps. So that means that you have to learn how to run comps. Now, back in the day when I first got started out of the bubble, right? There was no comping software outside of MLS. And everybody was always like, I gotta become a realtor to run comps. Guess what? Now you don't have to do that because there's like a bazillion comping softwares out there. We are partners with PropStream, Privy, there's FreedomSoft. Basically all the CRMs, they all have they are all comping softwares now, okay? So us as investors, it's like easy peasy. Now you just have to figure out which CRM you want to use, okay? If you want to buy properties, so you can at least look to see which properties, which properties you're interested in. Or yeah, so like which properties you can comp them with, right? So I used Privy for many years. That's what I use. I still have access to Privy. All right, if I'm going to comp houses, I use Privy. Oh, good. Centravius. I was saying that right. Centravius says, what is a CRM? The CRM is, what does CRM stand for? I have no idea. Contact management, right? It's your it's like the back office software that can manage as little as you want of your project or as much as you want of your project, right? So so if you think about it, see, the CRMs would manage this entire process. Like if you got like FreedomSoft or something like this like a software like PropStream or FreedomSoft, you could manage a lot of this. Now some of them can get like really into like managing everything and automating everything for you, and some of them are just like, just like I'll just do this part or whatever, if I only want to manage my marketing or whatever, like REI, like RealFlow or PropStream or FreedomSoft. There's a whole bunch of different softwares, and they basically manage this process for you online, like as a project management software is what it is. Like if you are interested in rehabbing homes, I highly recommend that you check out Flipper Force. Flipper Force is like awesome. And the guy that owns it is like such an awesome person, really nice. And actually the people that really kind of come up with these softwares, I mean, all they're doing is really just like trying to help, they're like, okay, this is the process that I used in my business. Let me create this software and then I can share it with the world. That's really kind of what it's about, right? But you just have to figure out which one that is the best for you, because there's really so many different types of softwares out there, and they all have free trials. So you could just say like, okay, let me try this one for like 2 weeks. Okay, this is like, okay, but let me just try this one to see if this one's better. Right, that's what it is. Customer relation management. Thank you, Christy. She looked that up for us. Okay, so customer relation management. But anyway, CRM is basically the back office to manage all of this online on a platform. That's what it is. Okay. Okay, so now let's just keep going real fast. I want to show you, I just want to go through this, the ARV formula. So these are just your steps on how to acquire properties. This is the steps. Number one is that you have to learn how to comp. You have to learn how to look at properties. Is this a good deal or not, right? So that's what the acquisitions part of this deal is how do I know whether or not it's a good deal? Well, guess what? You got to learn how to do that. And that's through this process. The first step is comps, learning how to do comps, finding a software to do comps. The second one is LTV. This is called LTV. This is loan to value. And essentially this number right here is what your lenders are going to lend to you on, right? And lenders will lend 50% of the deal, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. If they're lending 100%, then the interest rate is going to be higher than if they're lending 50%. right? Because they're not taking as big as a risk at a 50% versus 90%, right? So basically this number is the number on average. It's usually like 65 to 70%, right? But some lenders, I mean, especially nowadays, some lenders are like super conservative. So the question is, what are the lenders going to, and oh, sorry. Okay, don't know what happened with that. Don't push any buttons, anybody. Okay. Yeah, so what happened is so what you want to do for this, the 70%, is you need to learn what your lenders are going to lend to you on, right? So, and this is like if you're a rehabber, if you want to do luxury vacation rentals, or you want to do multifamily or whatever, what's that number, right? How do you figure out what a lender is going to lend to you on, right? How do you figure that out? Well, you go and talk to lenders and see what you could be approved for. And they're gonna give you a thumbs up and be like, yeah, I'll lend this much, 65, 75%. Or like, no, you need to go back and work on your credit and then we can give you this. Or they're going to just tell you exactly where you're at. So don't be afraid to talk to lenders, is what I'm saying. Don't be afraid to talk to lenders. And if you go to our sponsors directory, and I'm going to show you all this, during lunch, I'll show this to everybody. But if you go to the REI USA sponsors directory, we have a handful of sponsors that are lenders. And actually, Kenneth is going to be speaking today at 4 p.m. And he is one of our sponsors. And I've known him for almost 10 years since I started. And he is also an investor and he's a lender. He invests in a lot of different properties, and he's also a lender. And he works for Baker Collins, who's one of the largest lenders in the country. And he's going to teach about lending and all this kind of stuff. So he's going to be on at 4 o'clock today. But my point is that one of the steps in the process of what you should be focusing on right now outside of comps is talking to lenders to see what they will give you. How much money will they give you? None, some, a lot, right? Too much, right? You want to get to the point where you have too much, right? All right, so that's the lenders. So remember, this one is lenders. Talk to lenders. So you have comps, lenders, and then you have repairs. Now you have to figure out your repairs. What are the repairs going to be on the company? And also another thing is when you go into the REI USA portal and you go into it, you'll see a section called Forms Directory. Forms Directory. And the Forms Directory is where like all the contracts all are. There's deal analyzers in there. There's anything that you can think of that you need. It's all in the Forms Directory, right? And one of the things that's in the Forms Directory is the repair estimate cheat sheet, right? So you can walk through your house and be like, oh yeah, any property that you look like, yes, it needs this. Yes, it needs this. Yes, it needs this. And then it gives you the prices and you can come up with a budget. Right, so that's all there if you need it, okay? So you need to learn how to look at properties and figure out what the repairs are. This is step number 3, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3. The third one is learning how to do repair estimates. And this is also something that you just like, it just takes time. Like the first time you're like, is this right? I don't know. And the second time it's like, it gets better. And the third, by the 5th or 6th time, you're like, man, I can just do this with my eyes closed, right? But you have to learn how to do this, okay? Repair estimates, all right? And so this formula is the ARV times 70% minus repairs equals what's called your offer, your maximum allowable offer. If you're a rehabber, once you figure that out, right, you'll know this is the number that you can offer. Let's practice real fast. All right, so let's just say we found a property, and you should just have a calculator on your phone, right? Let's just say that I have the calculator on my home screen because I'm always calculating stuff, right? So let's just say we found a property for 200. We found a property. The seller wants to sell it, sell it for $200,000. We run the comps, right? We run the comps and we see that it's worth $400,000. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, comps are $400,000. So you're going to type 400,000 into your calculator. And then you're going to do times 0.7, right? Times 0.7%. And then, so that equals 280,000. And the owner wants to sell it for 200,000, right? So you know that that means that you have $80,000 to do the repairs, right? So the question is, can I do the repairs for $80,000? And you say, okay, well, no, the repairs are really going to cost $100,000, right? Or whatever number, right? So you'll just subtract 100,000 or whatever number it is and say, okay, my maximum allowable offer is $180,000. So you would go to the seller and say, look, I get that you want to sell this for 200 grand, but our repair estimate is coming up at $100,000, which means that we can only buy this at 180 grand. Would you be able to sell this at 180 grand, right? So it's a quick calculation of like how you can come up with numbers. So you have to know what the comps are. You have to know like what, now if a lender says 65%, right? I'll only lend at 65%, then you would just run the numbers at like, 65% right here. So it really kind of is important what this number is, but just wanted to give you the quick formula if you want to know, like if you're out and about or if you talk to sellers, what you could offer it for, okay? So that's the ARV formula. Now, if you wanted to wholesale this, right? So if I have a property that's worth 400,000 and I'm multiplying it by 70%, right? So it comes to 280,000. And then my rehab is 100,000. So I go minus 100,000. That's 180. And then I want to wholesale this and I want to make $10,000 on it. So now I got to also minus 10,000 on that, right? So that means that my offer to the seller would only be $170,000. Okay. So every single number in this formula is very important to know and understand. Right. And this is just quick calculation. I mean, you really need to get in and do a deal analysis with like a deal analyzer. And then also another thing is that there's a lot of apps out there that will just run, deal analysis for you. So you could look up an app that's like maybe like rehabbing deal analysis or Bird deal analysis or cap rate deal analysis or whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? So that you can do that as well too. But I'm the type of person, I just use my head. Really, I really am like a very just like calculator plus head person, which is kind of old school. And the reason why I'm like that is because back in 2010, there were no apps. There was no, like, we had a spreadsheet is what we had. And we ran numbers on the spreadsheet. Now there's like an app for everything, right? So anyway, so I wanted to point that out. You can learn how, this is what I call bubblegum brain. Like my daughter's 5, her name is Lillian. We have bubblegum brain and brick brain stuff. Bubblegum brain is like actually using your head, and then brick brain is like just using the calculator to do it, right? And sometimes you're a bubblegum brain person, sometimes you're a brick brain person, right? What do you feel like? Are you a bubblegum brain or a brick brain person today? Put it into the chat. All right, so we've got the ARV formula that you use for acquisitions. Good. Emmanuel says he's bubblegum brain. Chrissy says a little bit of both. Yeah. I try to be bubblegum brain as much as I possibly can, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm brick brain tonight. And actually my daughter, she's like, can I watch a movie? And I'm like, well, did you do anything that was bubblegum brain today? Like, what did you do? And she'll be like, I did this, and this. I was like, okay, now you can watch your video and be a brick brain. That comes from Carol Dweck. Have you guys read that book, The Fixed Mindset, or the Growth Mindset? That's like the kids version is what it is. Bubble brain versus brick brain is the kids version of the growth mindset, the growth versus fixed mindset. So if you have kids, you can read that book. It's called Bubblegum Brain. Okay. All right. Okay. Also here is the next step. So now we've run the deal analysis. All right. We got the property under contract. Now we need to find the money, right? Everybody's always worried about the money. Right, this is the finance part. This is the finance. I need to make sure I get some better markers later. Okay, so finance. Right, this one right here, this is the finance department. Finance. So now you have to find the money. All right. So this is exactly what I said. The 65% LTV, the 70% LTV, the 50% LTV, like essentially What is the number that the lenders are going to give you? All right. And so now you need to be out looking for private money lenders. Oh, now this is looking good. And hard money lenders. All right. Private money lenders and hard money lenders. This, you have to always be looking for money. My coach told me 10 years ago when I got into the business, and I tell this all the time to all my students. He said, he's basically sat me down and he's like, do you want, he's like, Stacy, what do you do? And I was like, I'm an investor. He's like, no, like you're an investor. Like, what do you do? It's like, I'm a flipper. I flip houses. And he was like, you're not a flipper. It's like, if you want to make it in this business, you can't call yourself a flipper. And I was like, well, I'm residential redevelopment. I flip houses and I'm residential. He's like, no, you're not that. He's like, if you want to make it in this business, you have to start calling yourself a fundraiser. That's it. The only way you're going to make it in this business is if you learn how to raise money. And it's true, in the real estate investing world, if you don't know how to raise money, then you are not going to be able to do the deals that you want to do. So you have to learn how to raise money. So I changed my mindset and I became, instead of a flipper, wholesaler, rehabber, I became a fundraiser. And over the course of the 10 years, I raised millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to be able to do all the deals that I want to do. So what I'm telling you right now is that if you want to do this, you are going to become a fundraiser, which means that you have to learn how to raise money. So my suggestion to you is when you join REI USA or when you're in your sessions, you should be asking the teachers, how do you raise money? How are you raising money right now? Because we all do it differently. We all do it differently, right? And then that way you have 30 different teachers that'll tell you exactly how they raise money, right? So I suggest doing that, number one, and learning how to raise money, right? Getting and Google it. How do I raise money? And because everybody just asks me, how do you raise money? And it's like, the truth is like, we all do it differently. Okay. But you have to learn how to raise money. That is number one important if you want to make it in this industry. Okay. Because if you only want to do one deal, then you can go get a loan at a bank. But if you want to do 10 deals or 20 deals, like, look, there's no bank going to give you that much money. You got to learn how to raise the money. Okay. All right. That's the finance department. Okay. We're almost done. This one right here, this is now we got the money. Got the money, honey. We able to do this deal, right? Now, this is going to be, if you're holding the property, this is going to be the management company. Or if you're rehabbing it, this is going to be the construction company. Construction department. The management department or the construction department. Now, if you're wholesaling, you don't have this department. Right? You're just like, you're the middle person between the buyer and the seller, right? But if you're rehabbing it or you're going to hold on to the property, then you have this department, and this department is management or construction. And you have to learn how to do both. Or, you have to, or if you are going to hold the property, maybe you have to construct it and then management. You have to rehab it and then management. But in the construction department, we'll just do this real fast. Construction or management. All right, so in the construction department, you got to learn how to put a scope of work together. You've got to learn how to put a spec sheet together, right? You've got to learn how to do repair estimate. You've got to learn how to hire contractors. Right? You got to learn how to do all that, right? We have so many different teachers that are teaching on rehabbing. I see George is on here, Carson's here, Lynette's going to be talking about this. So many teachers teach this. All right. So highly recommend that you're going to hang out with all those teachers so you can see how they do it. Right. And there's a lot more to that, but that's like the gist, right? Management, right? This is where you're like, okay, like how do I, manage the tenants? How do I find them? right? How do I manage them? How do I do maintenance on my properties? Maintenance. Right? So these kinds of things, like all the management part, right? And you've got to learn how to do all that. And there's a lot of teachers that only buy rental properties. I know Jennifer's speaking today. She only does rentals. So you'll be able to meet all these teachers. And then after REI USA, because this weekend is going to be like a lot of information. So I highly recommend, like, you're listening to everybody. Who are you connecting with? What are you interested? What niches are you interested in? And then after that, you're going to them and you're going to ask them the questions that you need in order to get yourself started, right? So this is like drinking from the fire hose. And then over the next couple of months, you get to go, just put yourself in front of them and ask them, because that's what we do. We do live webinars just like this, but you get to actually ask questions and stuff too, okay? It's like, as I said, it's like education online. It's like a community college online. So that's construction and management, okay? All right, and then, so now we're like rehabbing the sucker. We're going to hold on to that thing, right? We're going to make some money. And then then after a while, you're like, man, I got to get rid of this thing, right? So this department, the last department, is liquidations. You want to liquidate it. You want to sell it. So if you're a wholesaler, you have this department, right? If you're a rehabber, you have this department. If you're a buy and hold person, you may not have this until maybe later down the road. Luxury, vacation rentals, you may not have this till later because you want to hold on to those. But at some time, most likely you're going to liquidate, right? So how do you liquidate? What's the thing? You have to find realtors. What's the best way to sell your property? That's this division, right? So if you are let's just put it this way. If you're a rehabber, actually while I'm doing this, put into the chat what you're interested in. Are you notes? Are you small multifamily? Are you rehabbing, wholesaling? Now, the truth is, and the reason I started REI USA is when I first started, I thought I wanted to wholesale and rehab, right? I thought I wanted to wholesale and rehab. So that's what I did, is went out and got a coach and learned how to wholesale and rehab. Guess what? Now all I do is own storage facilities. All right. So I call wholesaling, I basically call wholesaling the gateway drug to real estate investing, right? You get in, and once you learn how to wholesale and rehab, some people love it and they just stick with it forever. And then some people, it's like all of a sudden doors start opening up and you're like, ooh, maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. That's how it was for me. Wholesaling and rehabbing. I was like, okay, after doing 100 rehabs, I was like, that's it. I'm out. Let me do some passive income, right? So put in and see. Yeah, we got some multifamily, buy and hold, self-storage. Awesome. Good. Who else? Tell me what you're interested in so we all know too, because there's a lot of teachers watching as well. And so this is how it looks right here. Right? So you have the admin. You have marketing. You have acquisitions. These are your things. You have finance, construction, and then liquidations. These would be the departments for the rehabber, right? We got passive income. Good. What else? Who else? What is everybody interested in? Post it into the chat for me, please, so I can see what y'all are interested in. All right. What type of niche? Or if you don't have any idea, just say, I have no idea, and I'm just here listening, trying to figure out what I want to do. Okay, good. Oh, yeah. Somebody says short-term rentals, passive income. Good. Good. Awesome. Now, if you're a wholesaler, you're going to look like this, which is like admin, marketing, acquisitions, and then liquidating. Now, wholesaling could also be notes, right? So this is like when you're a broker, right? So you're finding the buyer, you're finding the seller, and notes is exactly what you're doing as well too. You're kind of like a broker, right? Rehabbing, and then rehabbing, and then you could do also like the Burr method. Good. We got buy and holds 1 to 4. Good. Okay. Awesome. I love it. Short-term rentals, looking for some short wholesale deals. Good. If you're the Burr method, and I'll move this down so y'all can see it. Then you would have, right? You would have admin, marketing, right? Acquisitions, the finance, management, and then liquidations, maybe, right? So that's kind of like, so you figure out essentially now you have an idea of, you know, what, like what type of niche you're interested in. If put something in, if you're doing short-term rentals, that would be like a buy and hold, right? This is like buy and hold. If you're doing like short-term rentals or more multifamily, right? So that would be like in this area right here. So multifamily, short-term rentals, Burr method, this kind of stuff, okay? And then this is like brokering. And then this would be like, you know, rehabbing, construction, stuff like this, okay? New construction, if you're interested in new construction, would be up here, okay? All right, so you see, it's kind of like a system, really. And then what I did is I systematized this so much so that I could do like 10 to 15 rehabs at a month, at a time. And then you could really ultimately, if you take this organizational chart, whichever one that you're doing, and then you take all the different steps and create your organizational chart based on what you want to do and just list out the things for each department that are the most important. I literally just gave you the most important stuff to do, right? Like this, like, and now you'll notice in real estate investing, there's a lot of moving parts, right? There's a lot of moving parts. So just kind of like compartmentalizing them and listing out what you need to be doing will help you to stay focused on each thing that has to get done in each of those departments, right? So you have to set your office up. You have to have marketing going. You have to make offers, right? You have to make offers. So you have to learn how to make offers. You have to find money, right? If you want to do construction, then you have to learn, you have to put scope of works and spec sheets together, right? You have to find contractors, right? So if you want to do management, you've got to get those processes going. And literally, this is the process that you can use to automate and systematize your business. And start right now with the very beginning. Start right now so that you're building the foundations and you're creating this habit, right? You're creating a habit. And because what happened to me is like my first year, I only did like a couple of rehabs. My second year, I did 13 rehabs. And I was just like running around like a crazy person. I told my coach, I was like, I don't know if I could do this. It's too much work. I'm running around. And he just basically said, like, you got to get your crap together. You got to get it together, Stacy. He's like, you need to start automating and systematizing everything. And you need to figure out that one thing that you're going to be doing. Like, you don't want to have shiny object syndrome. And I was doing rehabs. Like, I was doing like a $200,000 rehab and a $20,000 rehab and a $50,000 rehab. And if you're a rehabber, you know that each one of those rehabs is completely different. So what I did is I looked at all my rehabs and tried to figure out which rehab is the best rehab for me. And then what I did is I picked that one rehab and I only bought houses that fit that one rehab. And I stayed into like the $50,000 to $60,000 rehab mark. And I just did that over and over and over again. And I automated that. And you can do the same concept with whatever industry, whatever niche within this industry you want to do. If you want to do wholesaling, notes, small buy and holds. But if you're all over the place and stuff, and my coach told me, he said, the wealthy get wealthy by picking one thing and getting good at it. So what REI USA is going to do for you is they're going to show you all the different ways that you can invest in real estate. And after you really try to figure out what you want to do, right? Then you pick that one thing and you go to that coach, do all those coaches that teach that one thing, and you just go to them over and over and over again until it starts clicking and you take action on whatever they say for you to do. That is what is good about REI USA. See, what happened with me is I got stuck, wholesaling and rehabbing, and all I knew about was just that until a couple of years down the road, like 4 or 5 years. And then I started realizing, wow, there's so many other ways to make money in real estate. And I wanted to be able to make money outside of just active income, right? So that is your goal, all right? So your goal for this weekend, okay, is to learn from everybody, see what interests you, what teachers do you connect with. And then after this weekend, your job is to go to them as much as you possibly can and just stay focused on that one topic and don't get sucked into everything, right? Get really good at one thing and focus on that. And then once you master that, you can move to the next thing. But if you're doing a whole bunch of different things at one time, then what happens is like everything is just like half-ass, you know? All right, that's my soapbox and I'm sticking to it. All right. So we are coming on now with Lynette, and she is going to come and talk, and she's going to introduce herself. Let me know what you thought about that. Actually, in the chat, can you do me a favor? From everything that I just went over, can you put your one takeaway of what I just taught you, okay? I want to know what people are hearing from me, what people are hearing from the teachers, okay? And that takeaway that you got probably will help somebody else with as well too. So write one takeaway of what you just got out of here. We got focus on a few areas to get good at. Organization is key. Picking one thing to go to the ARV formula. I love it. Awesome. Being organized. Such good advice. Good. Yes, I need to talk to lenders. I love it. I love it. I love it. Automation. Good, good, good. Perfect. George, systems. Good. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. If you are like a systems person, like if you want to be a systems person like me, come to my sessions because I am just totally automated. In fact, last year we traveled 8 months. And the reason I can travel for 8 months is because I am automated and systematized. So that's the one thing that I do really, really well. So if you're interested in that, come hang out with me. All right. That's what I do in the beginner session, okay. All right, cool. Awesome. Okay. So